The college baseball season is about 2 weeks old already, and we are closing the month of February, and I do this every year. Aaron Fitt, editor-in-chief, D1Baseball.com, will help me play catch-up. Sir, at Aaron Fitt on Twitter, great clubhouse guy. It's my favorite thing on anybody's Twitter bio. Thank you very much for helping me out here because I always play catch-up at the start of the baseball season. So I know 4 ACC teams, or the Triangle, the state of North Carolina ACC teams, all showed up in the preseason rankings. Carolina's off to a good start. Wake's off to a good start. Not so much for Duke and NC State. But let's start with the, 9-0 Tar Heels or something like that?
Yeah, 9-0. They're rolling right along, and that's that was the team out of the 4 that we had ranked the highest in the preseason. I think they were number 6 in our preseason rankings, and so far they certainly looked the part. It's a really exciting team because they've got tons of arms, first of all.
Right.
And getting Folger Boaz back from injury and Jake Knapp. I mean, those are 2 guys that they were expecting to count on last year in their rotation as their Friday night guys. First Knapp and then Boaz was a Friday night guy, and they both went down, and Carolina still got to Omaha. You throw those guys back into the mix. Knapp has moved back into a weekend starting job, and Boaz is at the back end and looks really like a good fit back there. And that's just as it makes this staff even more formidable. And obviously you got Jason DeCaro at the front. So I think pitching is a strength for them, but it's a new look lineup. They're not going to be as explosive offensively as they were last year, but they did a good job retooling it. It's nice to have Hunter Stokely back and performing so far better than ever. And King Kepley coming in from Liberty has been an impact piece for, stepping into the Honeycutt job. I'm not going to say he's trying to replace Honeycutt, but he's a center fielder and he can really play center field. He can really run. Different kind of player. He's more of a speed player, but he has a little bit of sneaky juice too, and they can really control the strike zone. So that is a really big addition for them.
All right, I guess we'll sort of go down the list of who's doing well. Let me just get to Wake real quick because they had an uncharacteristically down year last year. How have they bounced back? I know they were basically in the middle of of everybody's ranking. So, what do you like about the Demon Deacons?
And it's interesting. It's kind of a testament to how far that program has come. I mean, they are still a regional 2 seed last year, and we think you had a down year because they were preseason number 1 team in the country. They kind of underachieved, and they had all those 3 top 10 draft picks and all that stuff. But that said, their floor has really raised as a program where that's now a down year, and now. They're kind of lying in the weeds a little bit heading into the season. Everyone's like, well, they lost, Kurtz and Burns and Seaver King. I mean, how could they possibly be better? Tom Walter insisted in the fall that they are better despite losing all those guys. And I kind of believe him. We had them ranked in the mid-teens. I was the high man on the Deeks. I was arguing for them to be higher in our rankings above NC State and Duke. I lost that argument, if you can believe it.
Right. You lost an argument. Get out of here.
I know. It's outrageous. But here they come. I mean, it's, again, they've really there were questions they had to answer on the mound. Like, we loved their talent on the mound heading into the year and their depth, but they didn't have the proven weekend starters that they've had. And, obviously you're spoiled with Brett Lauder and Chase Burns as your Friday guys. They don't have that, but boy, this Logan Lunsford that they brought in from Missouri has been awesome. He's got real stuff. Matthew Dallas that they brought in from Tennessee. That's a great 1-2 punch. Neither one of them's given up a run yet. And just so many arms behind those guys. The depth and velocity on this staff is staggering. And once again, you've got star power in the order with Merrick Houston now, who's just gotten better and better year after year. He's the best shortstop in the country. His bat has really, really come on. And then Ethan Conrad was another preseason All-American that they brought in from Marist, who just tore up the Cape Cod League this summer. He's been a nice addition. Cade Lewis from Butler is tearing the cover off the ball. So they've done a really good job retooling the offense as well. And I think it's a pretty complete team.
Aaron Fitt, D1Baseball.com, editor-in-chief, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. All right, I'm just combining the question because it's the same for both, and then we can go through team by team, and you choose which to go first. What hasn't clicked yet for State and Duke?
Boy, this one's baffling. I mean, these teams, it's shocking to see them both at the bottom of the ACC table here.
Yeah.
I think Duke's 4-5 now. NC State's 3-5. and there's some bad losses in there for Duke in particular. But it's just, I think for Duke, their pitching in particular has not clicked yet. I mean, they've fallen behind early in a number of games, and then they've actually stormed back and made those games competitive in most cases. Not last night against Liberty, where they just got blown out. But I don't know why their pitching has struggled the way it has. There's a lot of talent there. Mm-hmm. There's plenty of experience, and they're just not getting it done. And so, it's one of those things where right now, and probably this applies to Duke and NC State. Right now, they stink. They just stink. But it's February,
right?
And they won't stink all season. And any time in the past with these two programs, especially, I feel like I have written them off and just left them for dead midway through the season. Without, inevitably they get hot. They make a serious run. They go to the postseason. Maybe they go to a super regional. I mean, we've seen that repeatedly from both these programs.
Yeah.
And Duke in particular, I can think of twice where I've just totally written them off. They were like, what were they, 3-12 in the ACC one year or some crazy thing, and then they came back and made a regional. I mean, you can't write them off. They're too well coached, and there's too much talent here. But I think in NC State's case, Adam, there's that lineup is going to have some growing up to do. I mean, it's just they lost so much from last year's team, and it's just going to take some time. I don't think they're going to be as offensive as most NC State teams are. And it's one thing about NC State is they always hit. This one I'm not so sold on. So I'm maybe a little bit more concerned about the Wolfpack long term, even though I do still believe in their pitching, and I think they'll be a postseason team because I think their pitching will be a lot better as the season goes on. There is a lot of talent on the mound, but right now it's not really shined through.
Aaron Fitt, D1Baseball.com. Let me just broaden the discussion real quick because East Carolina is obviously very good. So a couple of thoughts on the Pirates at the first couple of weeks of the season and what your long-term view is of them.
Yeah, another team that lost a ton from last year, and in their case, they hit the portal like everybody hits the portal, but they brought in a lot of freshmen, and it's one of the best freshman classes in the country. But there's going to be some growing pains with true freshmen, especially with as old as college baseball is these days, with the portal.
True.
And I think that offense in particular is going to take some time, like NC State's, but this offense is even younger than NC State's. They're really leaning on some young guys. And, right now, it seems like East Carolina is vulnerable, which is not something we've said for a long time. But I still think that they've got ability on both sides, but even on the mound, there's not nearly as much proven commodities as they've had in the past. And so they just got swept by North Carolina. They're sitting 3-5 overall. I mean, it's in that same kind of category as Duke and NC State right now, except I think there's more experienced talent that you can probably rely on at Duke and NC State that will eventually help them turn it around. I'm not as sure East Carolina is going to turn it around and live up to their usual standard, which is that they win their league every year. You still got to give them the benefit of the doubt. They're the Pirates. They're still the favorite in the American until somebody knocks them off. But I think it's going to be a lot harder this year.
All right, best player at another D1 school in the state of North Carolina that doesn't go to the 5 we talked about.
Tanner Thatch, UNC Wilmington. Big old donkey first baseman. He can also pitch, left-handed pitcher as well, but he's got serious juice. I think he was a second or third team preseason All-American for us. He's really good, and a lot of fun to watch.
And big old donkey first baseman. Put that on a coffee mug. All right, final thing, real quick. What is the House settlement impact going to be on college baseball? I know roster sizes are going to get, or scholarship allotment is going to get bigger. I know that. So tell me about what the House impact on baseball is going to be.
Yeah, it'll have a very big impact, and certainly the scholarship thing is the biggest because, as you know, we've been stuck at 11.7 scholarships in baseball for, 30-plus years now. It's been a long time, and that's been the number one thing that coaches have always wanted. It was we need more scholarships, and now all of a sudden it seems like teams are going to have the ability to give. If you got 35 guys in your roster, and you want to give 35 full rides, you can.
Jeez.
And I mean, Arizona State has already announced that they're planning to do that. Right, the 34 maybe is the new roster cap. I can't remember. They're adjusting it, but they're planning to give all full rides. And that kind of made a statement because they're not in the SEC or the ACC, but they're committing to baseball. I think you'll see that all over the SEC. All those teams are going to go all in.
Yeah.
I would think so. I mean, the other thing is it varies from conference to conference. I mean, I think some leagues are just restricting the amount of scholarships that their members can give out per sport. Like I heard, maybe the Big Ten is not going to approach it the same way, even though they have all the money in the world. They're not going to go all in on baseball the way some of these other ones are, which will be interesting because now you've got some really good baseball programs in that league that were in the Pac-12 before, like Oregon and UCLA. You can be sure that those programs are going to want to go all in on baseball, and that might be held back by their new conference affiliation. But anyway, it's going to create more of a chasm between the programs that are really, really committed and those that just don't or can't spend the money to keep up. And so, I think we've seen less parity recently because of NLI and NIL and the portal and all that stuff. And we've seen the SEC separate itself year over year, and the ACC has kind of come along. And it's those two leagues and then everybody else. I think that chasm's only going to continue to widen as we move forward.
Aaron Fitt, great clubhouse guy, at Aaron Fitt on Twitter, d1baseball.com. It's the number one. It's a D, then the number one, baseball.com. Very sneaky. Appreciate your time, my man. We'll talk again very soon. You will get me up to speed again. I know that's how we do it.
Love it, Adam. Always good to talk to you.